Vavi's perspective. Following the excitement of our meet with Salkim, I was invited to the guest rooms to rest whilst the others performed their myriad duties. Following my exhausted collapse upon the unreasonably comfortable bed, I was near instantly welcomed by the gentle yet powerful talons of deep sleep. I didn't often remember my dreams, and tonight was really no different. Unfortunately, the sheer comfort of rest largely inhibited my ability to properly wake. As for several hours that morning, I floated in and out of consciousness, each time knowing mentally I should prepare for the day, yet simultaneously desiring just a few more precious moments of comfort. This laziness on my part came to a head finally, when the sound of Chot pounding upon the door finally pulled me back across the waking world's threshold. "Vavi!" he called out demandingly, the usual diplomatic softness of his voice absent in the face of my mistake. "Are you awake? You're going to miss the war report!" Casting a sleepy glance toward the wall clock, my eyes widened in shock as I found Chot's statement to be an accurate one. With less than an eighth of a segment remaining to prepare myself, I quickly threw on my lab coat and without a moment's hesitation flung open the door. "There you are!" Chot chirped chipperly, which was rather unusual for him, before taking off at a brisk clip down the hall, forcing me to jog for a moment in order to catch up with him. The broadcast should be coming on any moment now. Hopefully all our work up to this point will be validated by the results. Offering in reply an affirmative trill, I pondered for a moment the sheer weight of history hinged upon this very moment. "What do you think?" I asked, allowing the silence between us to circulate for a moment before further clarifying. "Are we going to win this?" "I'd frankly be surprised if Providence lasted more than a few segments against our assault," he affirmed, his tone startlingly optimistic. Beneath his confident vocal facade, however, there remained some sliver of hesitation. There was something Chot wasn't telling me. Gathering together my scattered courage, I sucked in a deep breath of quivering confidence and finally found myself able to ask, "What are you hiding?" I will admit, the words came out somewhat sharper than I had initially intended, as Chot craned his neck to regard me with a thinly veiled glare. "Whatever are you talking about?" he replied, deflecting my question with one of his own. "Something's wrong with this, and you're not telling me!" I snapped again, seemingly startling the ambassador with my sudden outburst. "Is it about Andrew?" "Sort of," Chot murmured, stopping short of the office's entrance before turning around to regard me once more, allowing me a better look at his tired features. "Salkim is an excellent leader, but a tricky bastard nonetheless. I'm not sure what he wanted from our human friend when he set up that private meeting, but I'm concerned we might be soon to find out." Suddenly, I understood his trepidation. You think he's plotting something?" "He's a politician, of course he's plotting something," hissed Chot, his tone one of conspiracy. "The question is, what exactly is he planning?" Stepping into the waiting room, I was surprised to see Salkim's door already open. Inside, a collection of cozy cushions were set up around a particularly fine radio. There, seated across from the Prime Minister himself, was Andrew. "Ah, there you both are," Salkim chirped, waving us in excitedly as he promptly took to adjusting the radio. "I was worried you'd miss the war report." Taking a seat beside my human friend, I noted with no small degree of concern the wary expression upon his face. "Is something wrong?" I asked softly, casting an involuntary glance back toward the Prime Minister as Chot seated himself at his side. "I have a lot to think about." Andrew wavered, suddenly clasping my near claw within his startlingly warm palm and squeezing it lightly. "I feel the weight of a planet on my shoulders. I wish I knew the right thing to do." "If it's any consolation," the Prime Minister interrupted, regarding Andrew's sullenness with a somewhat mystified expression, "I think you're doing a great job." Casting toward Salkim a glare which effortlessly crossed the species barrier, Andrew continued, "Of course you think that," he growled, the hostility in his voice gentle, yet at the same time utterly unmistakable. Terror flashed across Chot's features as he moved to presumably correct the alien's behavior. The beginnings of an argument crackled in the air like electricity, and I could feel my feathers standing on end as a result. Suddenly, as though willed into action through an intervention of the divine, Salkim's radio crackled to life. "This is General Harch reporting in," the voice began. Disregarding entirely the evident frustrations of our alien friend, Salkim pressed a button upon the radio and replied. "How are things looking down there?" he asked in a tone of clearly manufactured confidence. "Reinforcements arrived 3 segments prior to now, sir." The general's voice continued in a tone professional, yet concealing beneath it a powerful undercurrent of emotion. "Providence forces are in full retreat, sir. I repeat, Providence forces are in full retreat. We did it." I could practically hear the collective celebration of Arkesa's citizens upon this news. For the first time in years, we unambiguously won an offensive battle against our enemy. Chot actually looked to be on the verge of tears as the Prime Minister continued. "This right here is history being made. Do you have anything to say to the people of Zintril, General? Providence thinks they've already won, but we're not done yet. We will fight to the last to ensure the safety of democracy on Arkesa." Again pressing down upon the speaker button, Salkim began anew. "Did you get that, everyone? I promised good news, did I not?" Releasing his claw once more, Salkim regarded us with a look of utter exuberance before rocketing up from his seat and approaching a cabinet beside his desk. Producing from within a bottle of fine Jackal, an alcoholic beverage usually reserved for times of celebration. "Let us toast to this great moment," he sang, pouring the piquant liquid into a quartet of crystal-clear glasses before passing them out to us happily. "Cheers," the human began, raising his glass toward us upon the utterance of that phrase in his native language. Replicating the human's foreign utterance, Salkim happily raised his own glass before nodding for myself and Chot to do the same. "Cheers," we repeated in unison, lightening my human's smile as he raised the glass to his lips and deeply imbibed the fluid therein. "This is history in the making!" Salkim began anew, his eyes blazing with newfound tenacity brighter than a Type O star. "With this newfound technological advantage, we could go beyond simply defeating Providence. Andrew, your people's technology could topple every despot, establish planetary rights for every man, woman, and child of Arkesa. And what of those who oppose us?" the human asked curiously, eyeing the Prime Minister with a look of tentative challenge. "Are we just going to destroy them? Unify the world by force?" Seeing the concern upon Andrew's face, the Prime Minister offered up in reply a sigh of exasperation. "Come now," he replied calmly, pausing for a sip of his drink before proceeding. "We can discuss this later. For now, we're celebrating." "I suppose so," Andrew replied, staring into his lap and shaking the doubts from his mind, before once again meeting our collective gaze with another plastered-on smile. "To Zintril?" "No," the Prime Minister replied, halting our second toast with an authoritative bark. "To Arkesa, and to the New World Order."